I'd like to know from the crowd, how many people are not licensed? Okay. And how many have their technician? Okay, and how many have higher class licenses? Obviously, all the rest of you. Okay. Well, I don't know if you've heard about doing remote amateur radio. You might have some friends that do it. It's a very interesting aspect of the hobby. A lot of people do it on HF. A lot of people do it on VHF. And it has application in a lot of areas in the hobby. Let me tell you a little bit about me first. So I'm W1VE. I'm from Hancock, New Hampshire, where I've lived for about 35 years. Not all in Hancock, but in New Hampshire for that long. Been licensed 49 years. I mostly operate HF. I also do a lot of VHF. We've done with Les and a bunch of other people. I'm an ex-ARRL headquarters employee. Way back in 1980, I worked there from 80 to 83 under Doug DeMaw, if anybody remembers him, who was and I was a technical editor there. And I'm a retired software engineer, so I've written software for most of my career. I have a lot of other call signs. I'm a Canadian. I live here in the U.S., but I'm still Canadian. I'm VE1RM, originally from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Have a lot of calls in Canada. And because I do a lot of HF remote, I'm ZF2VE from the Cayman Islands and 7Q2T from Malawi. So I've done a lot of DX operating, a lot of contests, and been on some DXpedition and DXcation operations. So a lot of different stuff. So what I'm going to talk about tonight. Why remote amateur radio? Why do we have it? What's the purpose of it? And what is remote amateur radio? Is it hard to do? Then I'm going to do some pretty cool demos. We're going to get on my ZF2 VE and make some QSOs from the Cayman Brac and the Cayman Islands. And then I'll see, I don't know how the band's going to be, but we'll get on to 7Q2T from Malawi. Maybe we can get something on 40 meters. But all this is real time right here, just with a Wi-Fi connection. And then what I want you to do is, please interrupt me. There isn't going to be a test at the end, but if you want to remember anything about this talk, remember one thing. I have a website called remote.radio, remote.radio, and it has everything that I'm going to talk about here tonight and much more. So it should answer most of your questions, because I'm going to do this talk at a very high level. You don't have to get into a lot of technical details. And it's really not that hard, actually. So why remote amateur radio? Well, there's a lot of good reasons for it today. QTHs these days are pretty toxic for HF. If you live in an HOA, pretty hard to put up a decent antenna. If you're in an apartment or you've gone to assisted living or retirement living, usually no way you're going to put antennas up in that facility. You may be, like a lot of people in California and a lot of other states, house rich but land poor. So you've got a multi-million-dollar property which can't put any antennas on it because it's not that big. So those are some of the reasons. Other reasons are you do it because we can, and it's fun. Remote operation is easy and enables us to operate in situations that are really not possible for a lot of people. So, and there's nothing bad about it. I mean, it's just a way. It's essentially just a way of extending your microphone and key to some other location, be it from your basement to your lounge chair or around the world. So. Essentially, it's, again, as I say, it's changing your mic and key to be connected to a radio that's not where you are. On the left here are some pictures of some remote amateur radio equipment. On the top, that's an Elecraft K30, which is the front end of a radio. It's not the radio itself. It connects to another piece of hardware and gives you that front panel of a radio anywhere in the world where the radio can be located somewhere else. And below that is a flex radio, which is a fairly expensive radio. It's an IP-based radio, which can remote fairly easily. But those are, and there are many other commercial remote radio tools or components that you can use, but they're all fairly expensive and they're all complicated. The solution I'm going to talk to you about tonight is very easy and free. It's totally free if you want it to be. And it uses off-the-shelf software. And there's a little diagram there, which I won't explain in detail, but as we go along, you'll understand what I'm talking about. What we all need to understand is the internet worldwide is very good these days. It's not like it used to be where you had dial-up everywhere and low-speed communications. It's pretty fast, almost everywhere. I haven't found a place in the world that if somebody has a radio there and they have a good internet connection, I can remote to. So is remote radio hard to do? As I said, simply put, no, it's not hard to do at all. You need a decent internet connection. It can be DSL, cable, fiber, 4G LTE cellular, or Starlink. So I don't think there's anybody in this room or in the country that can't have something like that. If you can't have anything else, you can have Starlink, and you can do remote amateur radio over Starlink. So some of the technical terms that we throw around is bandwidth, jitter, and latency. So bandwidth is when you buy bandwidth from your internet provider, they're going to tell you that you get so many megabits download and so many megabits upload. To do decent remote amateur radio, you need 3 megabits of download and about a megabit and a half of upload. You don't have to know exactly what that means. Just know that if your numbers are matching that or are greater than that, you're going to be able to do remote. And on the right-hand side here, I'm just showing you a couple of pictures of some servers that I have to show you the relative importance. In the top picture is a server in New York City. Now, of course, you see that it's very high speed. The 300 and the 601 numbers are the upload and upload speeds to that server. That's not what's important. What's important is the ping time, which is the latency. How long does it take your internet connection to get to that server and back to you? And something called jitter. And jitter is the instantaneous difference in ping times. So, for example, if it went from 13.9 to 14.9, that'd be 1 millisecond of jitter. Jitter is what kills the audio on remote amateur radio. If you don't have really good jitter, then the audio breaks up and it doesn't work very well. So as you see on this server, it's 0.8 milliseconds of jitter in the top diagram. On the bottom diagram is a server in South Africa. Now you notice it has 260 milliseconds of latency to me when I did the test, but again it only has half a millisecond of jitter and 260 milliseconds, about a quarter second of latency. Now you will hear that when you do transmissions, but very, very capable of doing it. Go ahead.
Are you going to get jitter? Is that something you're going to get? Or is it...
Well, yes, and that's why I use these tools to measure it. No matter what kind of internet connection you can, you always get some level of jitter. But in most modern systems today, it's low enough that it's not a problem. For example, if you have a VoIP telephone in your house, it is very reliant on having good jitter. But all of these things work. I mean, again, I can't stress enough. And as I'll show you in my demo, one of the stations I'm going to connect to, at the actual station, it's 4G LTE. It's cellular, and it works very, very well. But the idea is, as long as you have that low jitter, you're going to be really good. So, how do I do this? How do I do this magic of simple internet? There are two components. One is I rely on something that the people that that play multiplayer games use. Anybody play games, video games? Okay. Do you play multiplayer games? Okay. So one of the things in a lot of multiplayer games is if you have latency, you die. Literally, you get shot before somebody else does. So, yeah, and virtually die. Yes, and the issue is these guys want to win. So there's this thing called Mumble. Mumble is a multi-user audio conferencing server, which has extremely low latency. Okay, Mumble is free. If you look in the bottom picture there, you're looking at one of my servers. This one happens to be in London. Oh, and this is the magic. This is the magic I must explain to you. I have 15 Mumble servers around the world. And why I have them is you as a user connect to a Mumble server, and the station you're connecting to connects to a Mumble server. And you combine the latency of connecting to a central server, and that's your total latency. So I have servers around the world which allow you to have a low latency audio connection to the server. And this is the most important thing for having great QSO quality. It's just like being at the radio. Now, if you look under London there, you'll see I'm happy to be sitting not in one of the channels, W1VE2 with the head is me, and the other labels there are channels. So we have an off-air channel, a Radio 1 channel, a Radio 2 channel. I have something we call SO2.
Gerry, you want to throw your cursor over
what you're
talking about?
Let's see, you can see it on the screen here? You see my cursor moving? Okay, great. So this is the server itself at the top in bold. And then there are different channels, off-air channel, Radio 1 channel, Radio 2 channel. This is something for...
Cursor's not moving.
Okay, then that's in the picture. That cursor is in the picture. And you're not seeing my cursor. Okay.
You're not seeing yours.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, each one of those sort of not bold stuff are channels. And those are audio channels. And it's digital audio, so it's very, very low noise. I mean, absolutely no noise when there's no audio on it. It's like a repeater when it's squelched, okay? So you can have, on one Mumble server, you can have many, 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 many channels. So you can have a lot of different radios connected. Now this has an interesting application on VHF and repeaters. Now let's say that you guys were doing emergency communications and you wanted to allow your club members to participate.
You need something.
Oh, point. Is that a laser pointer? Oh, okay. Yeah. So these are the channels right here. These are the channels. And they're all separate. And once you set them up, in order for two people to connect, you connect to a channel and your audio is connected. Many, many people can be connected at once. And I will show you how that works and how low latency it is. Now, I was saying, but let's say you wanted to link all your repeaters to a Mumble server. You could put all your repeaters in a different channel on a Mumble server, and then using a cell phone, iPhone or Android, there's Mumble clients for everything, iOS, Android, all of that stuff. You could hook up all your 3 or 4 repeaters, even your GMRS repeater, and put it on there and access it from a cell phone. There is login security to get into the Mumble server, and you can actually have access control on channels. So you could put in codes for individual people to be able to access the audio on the Mumble server. There's another way to expand coverage. If you have members that are traveling, and they want to talk to the guys on the local repeater, you don't have to have DMR and all that other complicated stuff. You can just do it by connecting your repeater to a Mumble server, and it will work fine. So the other part of the magic sauce here, and let me talk a little bit about my Mumble servers. So these are my Mumble servers around the world. 2 in New York, 2 in Washington, D.C., 1 in Tampa, 1 in Phoenix, 1 in San Jose, 1 in Seattle, Toronto, London, Frankfurt, Tel Aviv, Singapore, and Sydney, Australia. And these are available free for anybody to use anytime. They are public. Yep, go ahead.
You can say your server. These servers you set up.
Yes.
How do you do it?
Very easy. So they're virtual private servers on the internet, which means that they're a very small computer running on a very large computer, and they're in data centers around the world, in high performance data centers, and they're very, very cheap to run, very, very inexpensive.
So it's virtual, Bill. Okay, it's It's virtual. It runs in a data center somewhere around the world, okay, where they have massive racks full of computers. And the data center sets Gerry up, okay, with his server, which is like his own little computer there. And that's his to use however he wants.
Right, and Mumble runs on the Linux, the server runs on the Linux operating system, and I run it there. And they are extremely, extremely inexpensive and very, very fast. Almost all of my servers have 10 gigabit Ethernet connections, so they never have any load on them, and they're very good. Now, who's my hosting company? I use various ones. So 8 of my servers are hosted by a company that's out of Taiwan, but they have servers all over the U.S. and they're very, very fast and very good. But I do have companies in New York and other places. But been doing this for a few years, so I've searched around and found the best deals. But the idea is, you as a user don't have to know any of this. That complication is taken out of the work. So the very important thing about having a Mumble server out there on the internet is that you, as a client, you're a client, you connect to my server, which means you look at my server. My server is public on the internet. If you've ever tried to do remote before, and you're doing it from home, usually you have to run a server at your house. And to run a server at your house is a complex thing to set up. You might be on dynamic IP, you might need dynamic DNS, you might need a lot of things. And more importantly, you're reliant on the performance of your ISP, your internet service provider. That might not be very good. But by connecting as a client to this server, the server is always high performance. So, how else do we do it? There's only one other piece you need. Of course, one of the most critical pieces, and that's how do you get to the station you're trying to operate from? You do that using remote desktop software. How many of you have used remote desktop at work or know about it? Yeah, pretty much everybody. So remote desktop software allows you to view and interact with the remote desktop of typically a Windows computer. What you're looking at here is one of the stations that we're going to connect to in my demo, which is owned by ZF9CW, and this is on Cayman Brac in the Cayman Islands. And what's really nice is no matter what kind of radio you have, you can remotely control it. If you have a Kenwood radio, of just about any vintage that has cat control, Kenwood has free software that you can download off the site called ARCP, and whatever your model number is. This happens to be ARCP 590SG because the radio is a TS590SG, which happens to be an inexpensive, very remotable radio. If you have an ICOM or a Yaesu radio, or even an Elecraft radio, there's a company in Canada which makes a set of suites called Win4K3 suite, Win4ICOM suite, and Win4Yaesu suite. And all of those give you a glass desktop remote access to your radio with all of its controls placed on the desktop. So as you see, when I go to show you this, I'll show you that you can completely interact with the radio. What's nice about most of this software is even though the radio is off, the remote software has a power button. You can, once you connect to AnyDesk, you can turn on the radio remotely. The other thing about remote desktop software is it's just like Mumble. They have a central server. You don't have to know where the other radio is. You just have an address to get to, and you type it in, and no matter where it is in the world, it's going to connect. So these two, the combination of the two, Mumble and this remote desktop client, allows you to remotely control the station. Now, are there side effects from this? Are there things you can't do? Well, for sideband, it's pretty much plug and play. For CW, because you're using just audio, the only way you can send CW currently is to use a keyboard, like N1MM or some other loggers support sending CW by typing on a keyboard. That's what I do because I do a lot of CW. However, K1BG set a light bulb off in my head. And I'm building some software to allow you to do paddle CW using just Mumble. And you follow my site on remote.radio, and in the next few weeks I'll have this software available. So you'll be able to do paddle CW with just AnyDesk, a Mumble audio, and away you go. And I know that's going to work very well. So he gave me a great idea to do that. Probably a billion questions so far, but hold on. So I want you to know how well does simple remote work? Well, it's been hard. I've been trying to convince my contesting friends that this is really simple and it works really well. Well, my friend Don, who's 7Q6M, he's K6ZO. He's the technical advisor to a ministry in Malawi. He wanted to get amateur radio into Malawi. And before he went there, there were no licensed hams in Malawi, none at all. And the Communications Authority had no setup for amateur radio. But he went to them and said, hey, if I take some people here and give them U.S. technician license, do testing over the internet and get them U.S. technician license, will you give them a license? And the licensing authority said yes. So there are now like 10 or 12 native citizens licensed as amateur radio operators, and they get the full privileges, not just what a technician gets in the U.S. They can do HF as well. So that's really, really good. Well, Don wanted to do remote because he has a house in Washington, D.C., and he comes back and forth, and he didn't have any way to know how to do it. So I set him up with this system, and it worked very well. And he said, oh, you want to operate a contest from here? Because I'm a contester. Malawi's a pretty rare country. So I certainly did. The station I was using was a Elecraft K3, 100 watts, and a spider beam at 25 feet. And in doing that, I did the CQ Worldwide DX Contest SSB, and I set a new Malawi record, which was pretty easy. But I also set the Zone 37 record, which was very surprising to me. It's a phenomenal place to operate from. It was trivial to set up. Literally, I had them operating within an hour, and it's been a nice ride from then. I did the 10-meter contest from 7Q2T as well. That was using a 10-meter dipole at 30 feet. And I came number 2 in the world. Phenomenal propagation, very, very, very quiet. Also using just this technology. I operate the station in the Cayman Islands with some other guys, some on at the station and me remote in the ARRL DX contests. And we've won that the past 2 years in a row as a multi-single, just one transmitter. And this year, we did multi from the same station with 2 remote operators, one in Arkansas and me in New Hampshire, and we won we claimed we won the world. So this stuff works, and it works under pressure. For your average hamming, it's easy stuff. So this is my website. Every question you have will be answered by this, step by step, where to get Mumble, how to set it up, what parts you need. You don't need much. If your radio has a built-in sound card, you can use the sound card in your radio. If your radio doesn't, you can use the sound card in your computer to do audio. One of the most important things you might need is one of these. This is a audio isolation transformer. It has 3.5 millimeter in and out jacks, and you can get them on Amazon, 2 for $10. Very cheap. And that's on my website too, a link to that. Why do you do that? Well, let's say you have an older radio, it doesn't have a built-in sound card, and you want to do remote. Well, you take the audio from the output of the sound card, which is going to be your remote mic audio, and you take the output of the sound card, put it into one of these, take it from these, and it goes into the mic jack. And because you have an isolation transformer, it'll work very well. The other way around, you take the speaker out of your radio, run it through this transformer, take the other side and put it to the input of your sound card, and now you're receiving the radio over Mumble. Very, very simple. 3.5 millimeter connectors makes it very, very, very simple. Don't need special sound cards. Another advantage of this scheme is you might have a very expensive radio like a Flex. Now, Flex does remote automatically, but if you're a CW operator, Flex has no side tone on remote. Well, if you like side tone, you can do this with audio transformers, and you get full side tone. So it's a way to get around some of the issues. Before I do the live demo, any zillions of questions yet, or everybody get it? Okay. Yep.
Well, one question, an easy one.
Yep.
Are you going to have these slides that you just presented on
Yes.
on the newsletter?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll make them available.
that's it.
And plus, like I say, everything about this is on my website too. It's all right. So,
How do you do digital?
how do you do digital? Just any desk. You don't even need audio. You just bring up 58 on any desk, and away you go.
There were some other questions here, though, Gerry.
Yes.
So, other questions?
Thank you.
There's one
So
over here.
when you say you're operating remote in Malawi, the station is in Malawi.
Yes.
You guys are- And once again, who set up those stations?
Okay, so this is so Don K6ZO, who's also 7Q6M, is a technical advisor to a ministry there. So he lives there, and he had yeah I'm sure you've worked with him. Yeah, he's on a lot. He set up the station. So he actually has 2 or 3 stations in Malawi that he's helped set up, and a lot of teenagers operated as well. But he wanted to do remote to come back. So he asked me to set up remote for him. And after he did that, I said, "Oh, can I get a license?" And I said, "Sure." And so that's why I operate it.
Question, does it have to be AnyDesk to use No Machine or something else?
Okay. Probably you can use anything. The 2 I recommend are RustDesk and AnyDesk. The reason why is there's a term. They're called rendezvous servers. So you don't want it to be peer-to-peer. Okay, you want it to be a central server that figures out where the 2 ends are, and you don't have to know anything about it. So the best ones are RustDesk, which is open source free, and AnyDesk, which is also free if you tell them you're a ham, and it's pretty much.
I've used TeamViewer.
TeamViewer does.
It worked until they started wanting to collect money out of me,
Yes.
and then it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they have Linux clients.
What's that?
I'm guessing they do Linux clients.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I don't do Windows. I have a girlfriend who does Windows for me.
Okay. So yes, Linux, no problem at all. And of course, like I said, iOS and Android, no problem at all. And actually, I'm gonna turn on the audio here, and you can pass this around too, just to show you once I get on the station what the latency is like. I mean, it's very, very low.
Anyway, Dennis has a question.
Oh, you still got questions? Okay.
I really enjoy exchanging QSLs, but it's cheating. I mean, I'm talking to you in Hancock,
Yes.
and the station is out in
It's
Malawi.
not cheating. You're talking to a radio in Malawi.
But it's cheating. You're not there.
It doesn't. I don't have to be there. I don't have to be there.
Do I get the QSL?
Well, yes, of course.
Is it going to be, what, a K1?
No, it's going to be 7Q2T.
He has to be licensed in that country, Dennis.
That's right.
Okay. The propagation to that country has to work.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of those things are the same. Now, if you're a purist and you feel this way, my suggestion is that it's going to take a lot longer for you to get the extra.
Well, it just seems like, that you're not really making a contact with you,
You are
but you're making a contact with the station that's out, 3,000 miles away.
more than 3,000. Yeah, it's you're definitely there. Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
I think my situation's simple, I hope. I would like to make my radio at my home QTH in Hopkinton available to a friend of mine who is housebound and is not allowed radios, antennas, nothing.
Yep. This is exactly what this.
How would I do that?
With this?
Pay attention?
Yeah, pay attention. Yeah. Read my website. Read my website, and I read my website, and I get many emails.
It's
a day.
already bookmarked.
Okay. But yes, absolutely. And I've done this for many, many hams, many, many housebound hams. And I have friends that are famous contesters that, world champions for years, and they're now in retirement homes. So they do a lot.
Do I need to dedicate a radio to that
No.
function, or I can
No.
use it if I want to?
Absolutely. One of the nicest things about this is you have it set up, you set up the software, and it's there. And if you're not on the radio, you give your friend the password and everything, they can get on and use it, and it doesn't bother you at all. And even though the software is still there, you can turn that off and just use it yourself.
Thanks.
Yep.
Just a quick question. If you're like when you're remoting to another country, say London, for instance, like you use that,
Yep.
do you have to be licensed, or you have to get the designation to be operating in? I'm not familiar with the ARL rules off the top of my head.
Okay.
But so like I'm operating up, but I'm at home, but I'm communicating through the server in London. So technically, London is not.
No, I mean
guess
it's
my
not the
home
server.
station,
It's not
but
the server. It's the radio.
the
wherever
radio. That's
the
what I mean.
radio.
I apologize. Right, the radio. So technically, that would be my home station where I'm operating from. Correct.
Correct.
So I would have to be licensed, or
Correct.
get
So
the
let
thing.
me talk. This is an interesting area. And there's a lot of gray area here. Okay. There are many countries that have reciprocal operating agreements with the United States. A lot of them are very specific to you being in the country. And let me finish, and we'll get to it. So you have to be in the country. Some amateur radio countries, licensing is not done by the government. It's done by the National Amateur Radio Association. For example, in Sweden, you're licensed by the National Amateur Radio Association, and they don't care if you operate remote, as long as you're using a call sign from there. And sometimes, if you have a friend station in Sweden you're operating, you just use their call sign. Or if you want to, you get a license in the country. So I'm licensed in Canada. I'm VE1RM. In Canada, remote is authorized within the country in the regulations. Okay, but you have to have an advanced amateur license. So what I've done, and I've been doing remote for almost 15 years now, is we follow best practice because the technology is ahead of the regulation. Okay, so we have many remotes in Canada. But we only allow, my friends and I and various operators, only allow Americans to operate the remote stations if they take the Canadian amateur exam, the advanced amateur exam. So they have to be licensed in Canada in order to do that. Now it varies. In Cayman Islands, all you have to do is apply for a license. You show them your U.S. license, you pay a fee, and you get a call sign. Pretty simple. So it varies where you are in the world. I have a license in the Philippines. Again, to get a license in the Philippines, I had to send my U.S. license. I had to join the National Association. I had to send a lot of pictures and paperwork and all kinds of stuff. But I'm only DU0/W1VE, so I don't even get a call sign. But I'm legally allowed to operate there. So if you have an idea of doing this in a remote land, the best way is to talk to amateurs in the country and say, I'm coming. And what do I do? A very interesting one, mine was a trip to Costa Rica. And how do you get a license in TI? Well, it's extremely complicated and very, very hard to do. So what most people in the country do is get an American license and operate reciprocal, even though they're citizens right there. It's easier. It's easier. And I didn't even do that. I talked to a lot of people that operate from there, and they said, no, just operate. No problem, just operate. And I did. And I submitted for LOTW and ARRL certification. No problem. But it varies by country. Some countries are very sensitive about it. Other ones, you can do it. But it's all doable.
Can I just add the ARRL website has a section, country by country, tells you
Yes.
how you get the license. And a lot of those entries are personal experiences.
Yes,
So
yes.
It's just some good information.
And again, a lot of it applies to in-country operation, right? But again, if you want to do remote, for example, the ARRL has said you can operate in the United States from anywhere, including space, if you want, but you must have a U.S. license. You must have a U.S. license if you're going to operate remotely. If you come here and visit, that's different. If a Canadian comes to the U.S., they can operate without doing anything, just by signing portable and the call area. But if you're going to operate from the U.S. remotely, you must have a U.S. amateur radio license. So, yeah. And they came out and said this because people were wondering what it was. Any more questions? And I'll get on.
You said you had a hex beam over at Malawi.
Yes.
Can you remotely turn it?
Yes. And I'll show you that when we get to the station.
Okay.
So one of the things, let me talk a little bit more about this. This is the live station here that I've got up right now. And let me show you. Where's our pointer? Which button is it? Third one down. There you go. So this is the glass desktop for the radio. Okay. And it has all the standard controls. This is the N1MM logger, if you've ever seen it. So we can do logging. We do logging from there. This station has 2 towers with 17 element tri-banders on each tower. And then they use software from Green Heron Engineering to control the antennas. And these are the band switches for the antennas. We have one tri-bander is fixed. This one is rotatable. So this is the rotator control, which I can show you. In addition, the station owner is a big 160 nut. So he has a 9-circle receiving antenna. So this up here is a 9-circle receiving antenna. So if you're on 160, you transmit with a tower and receive on the 9-circle array. And that's the control for that. So these are the automation pieces that you can have. If you want to do remote and do it successfully, you automate your station. And you automate it before you do remote. And when you do remote desktop, you automatically get all the automation that would be there normally. Okay? And here's Mumble. You have to have a Mumble client at the station and a Mumble client where we are. So you'll see that W1VE laptop and W1VE on my phone here. And what I'm going to do is we'll have it on the speaker here, but I'll also fire it up on my phone here. I've got it running on my phone. So that's that. And let me get my Mumble up here. And you see there's very little latency even between my phone and this. I'll find the frequency here. We're on 20 meters. Now, is this frequency in use?
You can hear the latency when Gerry
Pass it around a minute.
You can hear the latency when Gerry talks. He's on a Vox, presumably.
Yep, on a Vox.
So he's transmitting on Vox, and when he starts talking, the audio goes silent, and that's the latency in the system. So the Vox starts immediately when the radio hears him talking. And then that's why there's the delay between when he starts talking and when you hear the audio. It's not clipping.
It's not clipping. Hello, CQ calling CQ20. Hello, CQ20. Zulu Fox 2 Victor Echo. Zulu Florida 2 Victor Echo. CQ 20 meters. Zulu Fox 2 Victor Echo. ZF 2 Victor Echo. Kilo Fox 4 Alpha Charlie Bravo. You're 5'9", on Cayman Brock. My name is Gerry. Over.
Hello, Gerry. You're 5'9" into Tennessee. My name is Ed. It's Odessa. Or Gerry. Gerry is the first name. Again, 5'9" into Tennessee. Over.
Okay, Ed. Very good. Thanks for calling in. You're 5'9" plus 10 on the Cayman Islands, running 100 watts to a tri-bander. 73 Zulu Fox 2 Victor Echo.
73 at 100 watts to an off-center fed dipole here. 73.
Okay, 73 Zulu Fox 2 Victor Echo.
Kilo Oscar 6, Delta Juliet, India.
Kilo Oscar 6, Delta, whoops, just a second. That's my keyboard here. Okay, let's see. Kilo Oscar 6, I think it's Delta Juliet, India. You're 5'9", over.
Roger, roger. You're also a 5'9" here in California, QSL.
QSL, thank you very much. 73 from the Cayman Islands. Zulu Fox 2, Victor Echo.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Delta Foxtrot uniform.
Kilo Fox 0, Delta Fox uniform, 5'9".
Negative. Kilo Foxtrot 0, Delta Foxtrot uniform.
Okay, Kilo Fox 0, Golf Foxtrot uniform, 5'9".
5'9" in Missouri, David.
Okay, David, 73. Thanks from Cayman Brock. Zulu Fox 2, Victor Echo. Kilo 0 Sierra Juliet, 5'9".
Roger, roger. You're 5'9" as well into the state of Iowa.
Okay, 73. Zulu Fox 2, Victor Echo.
Whiskey 4 Hotel Echo X-ray.
Whiskey 4 Hotel Echo X-ray, 5'9".
Roger, roger. You're 5'9" into the east coast of North Carolina. David here.
Okay, David, thanks a lot. You're 5'9" plus 20 on Cayman Brock in the Cayman Islands. Name is Jerry. 73, Zulu Fox 2, Victor Echo.
November 7, all you are. Charlie.
Who's the Charlie?
Kilo 9, Golf, Charlie.
Okay, 9 Golf Charlie, 5'9".
QSL 5'9"
Okay, 73, Zulu Fox 2, Victor Echo.
Kilo Fox 7, X-ray Charlie.
Kilo Fox 7, X-ray Charlie, 5'9".
Kilo 5'9" into Idaho. Thank you.
Thanks, 73, Zulu Fox 2, Victor Echo.
Kilo 4 Echo Bravo.
The 4 Echo Bravo.
Kilo 4 Echo Bravo.
K4,
5'9" north.
K4 Echo Bravo, 5'9" plus plus.
Thank you. 73.
73, Zulu Fox 2, Victor Echo.
November 1 Papa Juliet.
1 Papa Juliet.
Kilo Lima 1 Papa Juliet 5'9".
Okay, Kilo Lima 1 Papa Juliet. Are you in Alaska?
Roger that.
Okay, a nice signal from Alaska. 73, Zulu Fox 2, Victor Echo. Yeah, who's the QRP station? QRZ, Zulu Fox 2, Victor Echo. Yes, the QRP station. What's your call sign? The QRP call sign. What's your QRP station? What's your call sign? I guess he doesn't copy. Zulu Fox 2, Victor Echo. Ending Echo Bravo.
Kilo 1 Italy Echo Bravo 5'9".
Okay, K1 IEB, you're 5'9" in the Cayman Islands.
Okay, QSL.
73, Zulu Fox 2, Victor Echo. So I'll stop for a bit there. Yeah. Questions?
You QSL?
Yes. Yes. No, QSL from Caymans. It all goes on LOTW. I mostly do LOTW. Let me turn down the volume there. So that's one station. Now let's see if we can.
A little bit of time when you had some hiccup on your computer screen. You were talking. Did he hear everything you were saying when you were trying to figure that out? Did that get transmitted over the radio as well?
Well, it's Vox, right? Voice operated transmit. So when I'm talking, it's modulating the radio. Yeah.
It's got to be kind of confusing on his end.
No, I wasn't. I mean, I was mostly talking about the contact. But,
yeah, that's fair.
And you can use. So there's ways to do this. It's on my website if you want to use a foot switch, and so you don't have to do Vox. But Vox is pretty convenient. Awesome. So that's one station.
So the Cayman Islands is pretty good DX, okay? But where are you going to now, Jerry?
I'm going to Malawi. Okay.
Where in Malawi is the station?
And Twabi?
Where?
My pronunciation is probably incorrect.
In the Longwood?
Yes, thank you. And do you know the hospital there?
Yeah,
The station's in the hospital.
far too well.
Are you a nurse?
No.
Were you in the Peace?
Medical logistician.
You're what?
Medical logistician.
Oh, okay. Did you do anything with the Peace Corps?
British equivalent.
Oh, okay. Very good. Yeah, my daughter.
Service overseas.
And my daughter's going to Africa, not to again, now I keep forgetting the name of the country. Namibia. She's going to Namibia in August, so for the Peace Corps. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, my friend works at the hospital there, and a lot of these teenagers operate the station. But let me.
And those who sent the hospital?
Yeah. Let's see. So let me do my AnyDesk here. Okay, and let me see if I've got it in my queue here. I might. Yep. Okay, a little bit of, okay, so I'm going to do a stretch here so we get full screen. Now, this is the desktop in Malawi, and as you see, they run digital a lot. So he's running digital, and he's running with the amplifier too. So I'm going to close this. Okay, it's a KPA 1500. This is the amplifier.
Cool, so that's the
Or that's a remote control desktop for the KPA 1500 amplifier. So let me fire up Mumble here for my Mumble connection on the other end. We're doing DC remote.radio. Okay.
Perhaps if you have multiple monitors at that station.
It's great. You get 2 monitors. It supports the number of monitors.
I mean, like if I'm here and I'm controlling my station at home and I have 2 monitors.
Right. They'll be at the top. You see this number 1 at the top here that I'm highlighting?
Oh, okay.
Okay. If you have 2 monitors, it'll say 1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you have 2 monitors at your remote location, you can connect to AnyDesk twice and put one on monitor 1 and one on monitor 2. So you get all the monitor support. Okay. All right. So if we do this, we're probably going to hear audio. Okay. I think he's on. Okay. So. Oh no! Hold on a sec. Let me get the remote desktop. So, let me mute for a second here so I can explain this. So this actually is not the hospital station. This is a station at his house, which is about a mile away from the hospital. And this is a ICOM 7610. And it's running a NFED, or an off-center fed kind of inverted L. We tune it on all bands right now. And he was on, I guess he was on 30 meters. But again, you get all the controls that the radio has in a glass desktop. And this is you just search for these Wind suites on the internet. It's a guy in VE2 land that makes them, and they work very well.
What's it called again?
There are Win 4, and then it's ICOM suite, Yaesu suite, or Elecraft suite. And they're
a number or
4, the number 4, Win 4, and then the radio type.
in your website is not radio.remote, it's
Remote.radio.
remote.radio.
Yes. Radio is the domain. Yep.
So unless your radio will automatically, has outputs to change antennas, you're limited to one band, right?
It depends what kind of antenna you have. If you have an antenna, it's the same as any other amateur radio, right? If you have a tuner, you can tune it. If you have a radio has a built-in tuner, you can tune it. If you have a fan dipole or any other type of antenna, you can do multiple bands. You can do this on extremely simple stuff. You can use an IC 7300 and put up a a dipole and use the tuner in the 7300 and do multiple bands. So you can do anything. It's you're not limited. You're limited by your imagination, really. Once you have this part set up, it's pretty simple. So again, I'm going to use let me make sure everything is set up quite correctly here. All right.
What do you suggest for like remote control switches?
Like what kind of switches? Antenna switches?
Yeah.
There's many variations on a theme. So do you have a remote antenna switch right now?
No.
Okay. So you can do things like, if you want to homebrew and do it cheaply, you can get any kind of like a Meritron or any remote antenna
decoder.
No, remote antenna switch, right?
Yeah.
And then you can buy an IP relay box, which gives you 8 relays with a web server in it. So those relays will control your antenna switching.
Okay.
Or like we did on ZF9 CW station, it's automatic band decoding. Green Heron does it from the radio, and it automatically switches. So it all depends what you want to do. All right. Oh, yeah. I have to. You can make this as simple as you want or as complicated as you want. That's the nicety about it, right? And people think they have to spend zillions of dollars to do it, and you don't. All right, just give me a second here. There's a little bit of setup magic I have to do to make this work. Okay, now this will work. Okay, I can connect. So one of the challenges here is your CAT, the radio control CAT from the radio. This software needs to connect to it. But in order to have a logger on the same machine, I've got to be able to CAT control too. So I have a little bit of software that glues that two together. And okay, they set it up for different modes here, and I just have to set it back up for what I'm doing. Change ports and 21. Okay, all right. Okay. Go to CW. Okay, CW. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. Okay, there we go. Let's go. Okay, so let's turn our audio back on and see if we can find some signals here. It is, again, you can see by the clock on the remote desktop, it's 3:42 in the morning in Malawi. And so it might be a challenge to find some signals to work. Does anybody mind if I do CW? Might be easier to make a contact that way. Okay. Let me see. All right, let's go. Okay, it's my mumble that's muted. So let's go here. Okay, we'll go to 40 meters. Okay. One of my favorite frequencies. Oh, Chinese radar. Oh, that's bad. There we go. Not bad on 7005. Looks like some sidebands from somewhere. Now, because we have this is the challenge. If you have a wire antenna, you don't have we use an antenna tuner here. So I'm gonna, okay, and I'm gonna tell the radio to transmit. Control T. Well, it does. It's because I'm transmitting with too much power. I can reduce that. With the KPA 1500 antenna tuner, if you have a pretty high SWR, it reduces the maximum amount of power you can run. I can probably run about 400 watts, I think. Okay. There we go, 454 watts. A little bit above 2 to 1. That's plenty. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we got. I got some messages set here. Let me see if it's me. Okay. That's up. Well, make sure we're using my log. Here we go. Okay, let's see. F4. Let me just put a repeat on that, and then we're going to do some other stuff. Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to look on the RBN so I can show you guys. Okay, let's see. That's only it's only 30 words a minute. I get people back at 50 words a minute. No, there'll be plenty of people. If there's any, if there's propagation. Okay, let me do this. My cluster is down. I don't know why. Sometimes you have real estate problems on the desktop. Okay, all right. So let's see if we. Oh yeah, somebody's there. Not getting spotted, right? Oh. Okay. $30. It's on the day. Let's see if I got the pointer here. It's right there.
We're back here. I can hold eyes.
Yeah. I mean, I can go slower if you want. But.
No, that's fine. I can't understand that.
I wanted to see if we got spotted on the reverse beacon network, because then I could show you on a map that I'm actually transmitting from Malawi. Yeah, maybe. Yep. $599, thank you. So let me just look and see. Let me see. Window bandnet. See if anybody's around on. Well, these guys are on. Oh, I did show up in the cluster? I don't think so. Hold on. Let's see.
He's looking on his phone, Jerry.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
He's gonna run right home and call you.
Okay, so let's see if we got it here. Let's see if we got it. I do have a spot. So there you go. But I got spotted in, yeah. So only one spot. So I'm being heard. Oh man, 2x2 gets spotted all the time. Yeah. Okay, let me see. We'll try again here. So the reverse beacon network doesn't lie. I am trying to transmitting from Malawi here. Yeah, this is not a great antenna. What's that? Oh, Cayman is fantastic, but it's only U.S. at this time of day. If it was this afternoon, I was running hundreds of Europeans on 10. So, I'm sure that's not too entertaining if you don't do CW, but just trying to show you that it's very doable and it works. And it's simple to put together, and you don't need a lot of technology to do it. But that kind of concludes my talk. But I'm happy to answer questions for as long as you guys want to ask them.
Does anyone have more questions for Gerry? And also, can you slide the lights up, the light control in the back? There we go. Anyone have any more questions for Gerry or comments?
You reachable through your website?
Am I reachable via my website?
Yes.
Gerry@remote.radio is my email. Okay, sure, no problem. Yep.
So Gerry, what's on the DX station? Any desk, and then
well, whatever automation that you would have.
So the way to set it up is first set it up on your
desktop. In your station.
Get it working that way.
Yes. And that's the key to all the magic, right? Because the more control you have from your computer and your station, the more you can have remotely.
So look, to tell you how simple this is, if you can tell you how simple this is, you can connect your radio up to a program like N1MM. Okay, it requires downloading 2 pieces of software. Okay, it requires downloading Mumble for the sound, okay, and something like AnyDesk for the video. AnyDesk basically means if you have N1MM on your local computer, you now can view that and control it on your remote computer. 2 simple things, and you can use your station remotely.
So what's for your radio?
W4.
The what?
The glass.
Oh, the glass desktop. Yeah. The glass desktop software. Yes, those suites. If it's one of those 3 radios.
Right.
There are other ones. If it's Kenwood, it's a different.
Right.
And also on my website, there's a section on my website. Well, let's bring up my website. We have the internet here. Let me bring up my website for a second. So, on my website, I have a section called Radio Recipes, and it tells you how to do it with various different radios: Kenwood, Elecraft, ICOM, Yaesu, Flex. The Green Heron controllers you buy from Green Heron, and
Do you use Ethernet or
we use Wi-Fi. ZF5T we use Wi-Fi.
Okay.
It's still Wi-Fi into your shack, and then it's just over the internet. Remember that you're the only.
Controller is connection is Outreach or what, Ethernet or?
Serial or Ethernet or Wi-Fi, whatever. It depends what you want to do. But so anyway, on my website are all my servers. I think I got. Where's my server list here? I forget where I put it. Let's see. Oh yeah. So I have a section on Mumble. It goes through Mumble and tells you every step, how to connect it, how to configure it, what you do. A lot of information about how you configure it.
Step by step.
Here's those transformers I'm talking about. Yep.
Gerry, you mentioned for the remote desktop, you need like AnyDesk.
Yes, it's called AnyDesk, and you get it from anydesk.com.
Okay, and then the Rust Desk.
Yes, is another one, and that's from rustdesk.org.
So there's two of the same.
You can use either one, but you have to use the same one on either end. Right? Okay. And that's all on this website. All that information about how to get it is on that website.
N1MM.
So, I mean, I put the links to those transformers to a sound card if you need a sound card. Here's my public Mumble server list. What's really interesting is you can click on a link. If you click on a link, I have speed tests on every server. So you can, this is my New York server. If we do a test of that from here, there it is. It's 48 milliseconds away and 2 milliseconds of jitter. So.
By the way, I know people. This is so addictive. They set this up because they went on frequent business trips, okay? But I know OZ4UN, for instance, okay? His shack is in his basement, and he has an iPad, and he operates in whatever room in the house is convenient. So in the summertime, he operates, he's in Denmark. In the summertime, he operates out on his deck. In the wintertime, he operates sitting in front of the
a guy from CW Ops that you don't know is always pretty much remote all the time. Is a VA3SB, Serge. And VA3SB is a representative to ITU and goes to Geneva all the time. So his station is remoted. He takes a laptop and operates from Geneva. So it operates back to Canada. So, any other questions? All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.